I know they see us. Fuck, I forgot the word. We're soaring. We're flying. There's not a star in heaven that we can't reach. Hey, yo. What's good with it? Another fucking night. Another fucking episode. Yo, what is good with it? Welcome back to the show. Kicking it with Saint. How are we doing today? How dope was the day? How dope was the day, yo? I hope you enjoyed your day. I hope you had a great one. We got to talk about playoff basketball. I told you, man. I've been on it all week, man. I haven't uploaded all of them, but I've been on it all week. We back to Brooklyn. Back to Brooklyn. You know, I knew that the Warriors didn't play tonight, but for some reason I still expected that they was going to play tonight because I keep forgetting all the different teams that's in the playoffs. Like, I didn't even mention Trae Young and them boys in my first playoff breakdown. But either way, run through a couple scores real fast. Toronto had a big lead tonight in Toronto. I saw that score and I said to myself, the Sixers will figure it out. And they did. Joel Embiid hit a game-winning shot in overtime to win the game. So they go up 3-0 in their series. Boston, we're going to talk about that game. Who else played tonight? The Bucks is playing right now against the Bulls. So I'll probably end up catching the back end of that game after I get off of this. The game we got to talk about. Yo, first off, though, I was catching clips from the Sixers game. And I saw this little altercation where it looked like the Sixers was trying to jump their own player, Danny Green, pushing them back and shit. And I'm like, yo, hold up, bro. Hold up. Now, I don't know what DG did prior to North Carolina. I don't know what he did to, get this type of response from his teammates. But I'm pretty sure he got the message after the first push. The second, third, fourth push and all this shit, hella unnecessary. If I'm Danny Green, I'm stopping for a second and I'm like, okay, bro, we good? Is y'all good? Because this pushing that y'all doing right now, y'all pushing me like y'all trying to get into something. Like, what y'all trying to do? Because what we doing right now? Y'all pushing me like y'all have some pent-up aggression or some type of feelings towards me or something. Like, what we doing right now? I know I ain't Seth, but, what we doing right now? That's all I'm saying. Either way, back to the Brooklyn game. I said either last episode or the previous, the one before that, the Nets, man, the fact that they don't really run offense is just KD turn, Kyrie turn, or one of them two try to figure something out and make a play. Yeah, that shit not gonna work against great teams. Like, I feel like I'm watching OKC 2.0. You just switch out Westbrook, insert Kyrie, and we off to the races. It feel like the exact same thing that I watched in OKC for those years. And that is a problem because Boston, what I'm realizing after these first two games, Boston is the better team. There's no two ways around it. And what's weird is Boston even get caught in these situations sometimes where they have no ball movement whatsoever. Like, it's just players standing around watching Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. That is weird considering how great they actually do play when they play as a team. But for the Nets, man, it's just, I don't necessarily agree. I don't really have a problem with Steve Nash as the head coach. Like, I didn't have really a problem with the hire and whatnot. For the simple reason, I understand if this was the NFL, that would be a big problem. But in the NBA, while they do still, I mean, I'm not going to say the NBA perfect when it comes to hiring African-American coaches, but African-American coaches do get shots in the NBA. Like, it just far more opportunities to coach teams in the NBA than they do in the NFL. I mean, Monty Williams got the Phoenix Suns job and completely flipped that team around. Like, it's a lot of different cases of African American men getting good teams and good jobs in the NBA. So I didn't have really a problem with Steve Nash getting that job. I understood people saying, oh, he was underqualified and, this and that. But in the NBA, players, get jobs. If you was a great player or a knowledgeable player, hell, you could have rode the pine. The NBA seemed to hire their own players. Like, shout out to the NBA for that, as a matter of fact. They employ their players. So I just did not have a huge problem with Steve Nash coaching that team. But from what I'm seeing, and I spoke on it the last time I spoke on this subject, but, from what I'm seeing, Steve Nash is going to have to Steve Nash is going to have to figure something out, because this offense, this don't look like a team that's being coached on offense. Like, when you have two talents as great as Kevin Durant and Kyrie offensively, you should not be struggling to score the ball like this. Not to mention, everybody else should be getting a ton of wide open opportunities. That's why it's not as easy. People thought it was easy, Steve Kerr, what he did in Golden State, just because, they had great players and anybody could coach that team. No, anybody couldn't coach that team. Because too many times we see coaches not be able to rein in all-star level players or superstar level players, star level players. They get two of them on the court and they can't, control them. And not control as in telling them what to do and shit like that. But they don't really hear the coach like a player who not on their levels would. They become technically uncoachable at times. And I don't think Steve Kerr got enough credit for how he was able to, Steve Kerr and the players on that team, for how they was able to, keep that thing, to win two championships out of that thing and make 3 title appearances. Like, they balled out during that run, yo. And you look at the Nets, since they done got KD, Kyrie, James Harden, like, it's just not working out. For some reason, it has not worked out. And you can, use all the excuses in the world, but at some point in time, we're going to have to step back and say, yeah, I got to figure this out, man. This is too great a collection of talent. And I don't want to hear, they don't have the right bench players and this and that. Bro, when you have 2 players on this level, you have to be able to figure it out. And that is why I bring up Steve Nash, because I just don't think he is coaching this offense. Like, what is this offense right now? Like I said, it's straight up just KD turn, Kyrie turn, KD turn, Kyrie turn. And then it's a bunch of, well, let's see if they can make a play happen, whether it be for themselves, each other, or somebody else on the floor. I'm watching this game tonight, and Al Horford, been a good player for a long time. It's an old dude at this point in time, though. I'm watching him guard Andre Drummond one-on-one. I'm watching Andre Drummond get good position on him down low on a lot of different possessions. And I'm watching the point guards on this team, whether it be Seth, Kyrie, or any of the other guards. Nobody is finding him down low. Andre Drummond could probably give you about 20 easy points in this game tonight if they had just gave him the ball every time he won his position down low against Horford. Because he won position down low on Horford multiple times where it was just him and Horford, and if you just get him a pass over the top, he was easily dunking that in, laying it up, or taking that foul. Or, hey, you could possibly get an and one. They chose not to do that for some reason. If you go back and look at this game, it was multiple opportunities. And listen, this ain't a make Horford a big part of this game. No. But based off of what was happening tonight, how they was guarding KD, how they kept swarming him, which only can happen because of the lack of ball movement and the lack of player movement, I should say. That's the only reason you can get away with guarding Kevin Durant the way that they guarded Kevin Durant tonight. That's the only reason. And the way they guarded Kyrie. But a good coach, or a great offensive head coach, or just one who understands matchups and understands how to adjust throughout the game, he would have exploited that Al Horford-Andre Drummond matchup. He would have told his team every time they went to the break, yo, you got to feed Drummond when he get positioned down low on Al Horford. They never emphasized that, it feel like. And listen, I understand some people saying, oh, well, Drummond ain't that dude or blah, but I don't care. When you have these type of matchups, you exhaust that matchup until you figure out if he is or ain't that dude. That's a matchup that I just feel like they never tried to exploit at any point in time. And Drummond even beat him when he got the ball down low at one point in time and faced him up and drove it on him. Like, you have to have Andre Drummond feel like he is a part of this game, like he is a part of the outcome, like he not just riding off of these two. Make him feel like an important player in this game again, like a big player in the league. I understand people saying that Andre Drummond done been phased out of the game because of the three-point shots and shit like that. That's what bad teams and bad coaches say. You can figure out how to use Andre Drummond in certain situations, just like the Warriors figured out how to use some of their players in certain situations. I ain't saying Andre Drummond is playing 30, 20 plus minutes every night, but you could have used Andre Drummond tonight. The Celtics is not a team that's launching or hitting a shit ton of three-pointers. They don't have a shit ton of dead-eye three-pointers on their team, if any. Andre Drummond could have been used. The Celtics penetrate a lot. And the fact that the Celtics not only play good team ball at times where they swing the ball and get each other. Now, listen, it was a lot of turnovers tonight. At one point in time, both teams combined had 14 turnovers apiece, combining for 28 turnovers. I'm like, holy shit. But nonetheless, when the Celtics play team ball and move the ball and whatnot, it don't help that Brooklyn's defense is bad also. Like, the Brooklyn had a big lead in this game at one point in time, and it just continued to get picked away at, and when the Celtics finally took the lead, they never gave it back up. Like, Brooklyn, for one, Brooklyn can't rely on being able to play good enough defense for 4 quarters. I realize that. They are not good enough defensively for 4 quarters, especially when they cannot score also. Kevin Durant had another rough night, and Kyrie had a rough night. And so my mom, she called me. She thought that Kyrie struggled because of his fasting thing. I don't know, because she said I told her that he not drinking no type of liquids or eating, I believe. And like when the sun went down or what, I apologize for getting this information wrong. But for the people who understand what Kyrie is observing, I think it's Ramadan or fasting. He was allowed to break his fast at a certain point in time during the game where he ate some fruit to get his energy up. My mom thought that Kyrie might have struggled tonight because he didn't have no energy, basically. But either way, Kyrie and KD never got a chance to really take this game over because of the defense. And I think the reason the Celtics was able to play the defense that they was able to play because of bad offensive play calling, no offensive movement like from the players. The ball movement was stagnant. You got Kyrie, and I'm not mad or blaming Kyrie and KD for having to dribble the ball for so long, because I mean, go look at most of these plays. These dudes not running around. They're not cutting. They're not setting screens and running off of them. It's not continuous ball movement. If the screen don't work the first time, they probably just stop and go stand in the corner. Like, that type of play, you only get when you have 2 superstars on the team and everybody else is not being empowered on a regular basis. You should not have a Seth Curry on the floor and don't have constant screens and ball movement and plays being set for him to get open. Seth Brown playing decent or playing good basketball. Let's find ways. I mean, like I said, Andre Drummond could have probably gave you 20 plus points tonight if you had just fed him, because he was winning his matchup at times down low against Horford. It's just they never gave him the ball. And then when they tried to start giving him the ball, they just kept turning the shit over. Like, it was some passes where you could just get him the ball and KD just threw it right to Horford. I'm just like, man, this is a very sloppy game for Brooklyn. And I'm starting to realize, if KD don't go nuts, if Kyrie don't also go nuts, then they probably ain't winning these games against Boston. Because at the end of the day, KD and Kyrie might be the two best players in this series, but this ain't the best team. Because while they are the two best players in this series, when you go down the line, next you take Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, and then a couple other Celtics more than likely. And not to mention, it's just the Celtics play far better defense. Now, I do think the ref was letting the Celtics get away with some things that they probably won't be able to get away with in Brooklyn. And I do believe that, because some of the plays, that you can't just have them slapping KD on the wrist and pulling on him and shit like that all game and just never calling nothing. You know what I'm saying? And I understand they say the playoffs, they let more calls go. Yeah, I get that, but some of these calls is just obvious fouls that they're not calling. And I'm like, man, you can't just say play through certain calls, bro. Like, don't tell me to play through certain calls when this motherfucker is legitimately grabbing and pulling me. No, bro, do your job. Call this foul, my dude. Like, no. Because if you letting them get away with this shit all game, when you finally decide to call it, now they going to be bitching about it. Like, oh, man, you ain't called this all game. Well, yeah, he haven't, but he should have. Somebody was feeling that because 2 gunshots went off after I said that. But I'm just saying, this is about to be a tough series. And I know Brooklyn about to be in Brooklyn, but how big of an advantage will Brooklyn have? I don't know, at home. How big would the energy be? I don't know. I think that Brooklyn will have to rely on the fact that KD and Kyrie should both play great at home. They should both play better at home. And also, you count on Jaylen Brown. And it's weird to keep saying that Jaylen Brown and these Celtics and Tatum and Marcus Smart, that they're young, because they're not young. They done been in the league for at least 5 years now at this point. But because they are young, I do expect that they might not play as great. And speaking of that, it's, I said it, Jason Tatum, as much as I love Jason Tatum, I think he a great player. This was another night where he didn't have that same game that he had in game 1. And it's just, that's my thing with Jason Tatum right now. And that's what's been my thing with him for like the last year or so. If he gonna take the next step, and I said it about Brandon Ingram, the game that B.I. had last night where he put the team on his back and took him home, he got to have, I'm not saying he got to be a superhero every game, but he do have to be a big reason why his team is in the game or win the games every single night. That's what turned you into a star in this league. Jason Tatum, while he is a perennial all-star at this point, I don't look at him as a star yet, because I don't think Jason Tatum put together. The regular season is one thing. Jason Tatum have to figure out how to be effective and I know some people saying, well, he can't do it every night. Yeah, that's what make you stars. That's what make them superstars. The greats figure out a way to be effective, to be great every single night in these moments. I'm telling you. And I'm not saying that the greats don't struggle. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they don't have bad games. What I'm saying is Jason Tatum done had too many of these games, and it's a if the Celtics, so Jaylen Brown was the star of the game basically tonight. It was really a defensive team effort tonight, but Jaylen Brown had a lot of big spots in this game. And while I was watching, I was like, this is exactly what your number 2 player should do when the number 1 is struggling. Even though if the number 1 and the number 2 is going off, this would be a different. Like, I want to see Tatum and Jaylen Brown become a legitimate stud 1 and 2. But Tatum going to have to figure out how to be consistently great, like being the top guy every single night. And tonight was a weird night in a sense that it was a lot of turnovers, a lot of dribbling into turnovers for KD, Tatum. It was sloppy for a little minute. But with that being said, because I really don't want to. I just know it sounds weird, but that's Tatum could be a superstar. Like, he is going. Like, me and my mom, when I called her, we was talking about him tonight. Like, Tatum could be a star, bro. It's just, to me, he have to figure out how to be like. I'm not saying, I need him to go out there and give me 31 every single night. But I do need to feel like Tatum is the leader every single night. Like he is a difference maker. The difference maker. Because you can't be a difference maker. You have to be the difference maker. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't go through this series and feel like Jaylen Brown was the reason they won it. And go through the next series and feel like, oh, well, maybe Tatum played a big part, but it was more so Jaylen Brown in that one too. You know what I'm saying? I can't have that. Like Jason Tatum have to be the biggest reason why the Celtics win a championship this year, or not. I'm getting ahead of myself. He have to start being one of the biggest reasons in my opinion. Because I'm not. Listen, if I just was seeing Jason Tatum as just a great player and all this, I wouldn't be saying none of this. But Jason Tatum, what the Celtics need him to be is a Kobe Bryant of his team, a LeBron James. It's interesting if I say a KD because KD didn't win a championship by himself. And nobody win by himself, but he didn't win as the leader of a team. What they need from Jason Tatum is to win while he is the leader, the best. Listen, being the best player on the team don't mean nothing. You can be the best player on the team and not be the leader of the team. You know what I'm saying? Or not. How do I put it? Because Curry, a lot of people would say KD was the better player. But Curry was clearly, very obviously, that this was his team. He was the leader of this team. Like, and it ain't like Curry went from averaging, big numbers to averaging like 12, 13 points. Like, come on now. Curry should have won that second MVP in the finals to me, but that's a conversation for another day. I'm not having that conversation tonight. But if Jason Tatum can figure out how to become that guy, because like I said, it's rare territory where, like, look at Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk Nowitzki is a perfect example. He was the guy for Dallas every year. Did he win a championship every year? No. He was in contention most years because they had Dirk. That is, bro, my mind, bro. It's clicking. It's all coming together right now. Dirk Nowitzki, because Dallas had him, you felt like you put anybody around him, and that just make their odds of winning better. Did we say that the Dallas Mavericks were the championship favorites every year? No. But did you count them out? No. Why? Because they had Dirk Nowitzki in his prime. I'm talking about during his prime years. That's what Tatum got to become for the Celtics. Where you say the Celtics have a chance every single year because of Jason Tatum has arrived. Because Jason Tatum is that guy. That's what you're looking for with Brandon Ingram. The Pelicans have a chance every year because Brandon Ingram has arrived. And it ain't that fishy fake shit like they kept giving AD, like, oh, the Pelicans got a chance every year because they got AD and he a top 5 player. No, the fuck No. That was fool's gold. They was selling y'all false hope. They wasn't telling you the whole story. You guys never had a shot with AD. After those first couple years, he showed you, I can be great, but I am not going to be the biggest. I cannot be the leader of a championship team. And that's all right. Everybody not meant to be the leaders of a championship. Everybody is not fit to play the role of numero uno on a championship team. That take a certain type of player. A Dwayne Wade, a Shaq, a Kobe, a Bron, a Curry. I want to say KD so bad, bro. I want to say KD so bad. The thing that's stopping me from saying KD is because I really want to see if KD can lead a team to a championship as the best player because like I said, I don't care about that. Because the KD will be the best player on every team he go to. He a rare player where every team he go to, you would consider. Like, you put KD on the same team as LeBron James, I think KD is the better player. But LeBron James it's funny because I don't necessarily think he the better player. Let me put it like this. He the better offensive scorer if you put him on any team. Like, any team you put KD on with any player, he could probably aside from Kobe, and even then I would probably still say take him offensively over Kobe and Mike for the simple reason that length is just unguardable. It's so hard, man. I guess we're getting into a conversation I didn't even know we was gonna have, because it's hard. It's tough, because I really don't even like saying that, because as great as he is offensively, what I know is if Curry get hot, I'd probably take him. Like, it's not guaranteed I'm taking KD. If KD is torching hot, like flaming hot, yeah, I would take him, but it's still a pause, because if Kobe Bryant is flaming hot, I would probably take him over a flaming hot KD. I don't know. If Curry flaming hot, if Miami LeBron James is flaming hot. You see what I'm saying? So to me, it's not even a fair thing to say that if KD is hot, and like, I'd take him. So, but it's only against those type of players. It's because I look at like Curry, LeBron, Kobe, Wade. To me, those are superstar players. Those are dudes who led teams to championships. I don't give a fuck if a team opposite of them was hurt, banged up. I don't care about none of that. And the reason it's hard for me to give that to KD, because I want to. But I'm saying to myself, if you took Curry off of that Warriors team, but you kept KD over there with KD, Clay, and Draymond, do I think they would have won a championship? No. I still don't think they would have won. I think LeBron would have been able to beat that team. Like, to me, Curry is the difference maker. And I think people starting to see that now, but maybe they not. I don't know. People hate Curry for some reason. Jordan Poole was in the G League last year. Like, I haven't watched Jordan Poole since he got to the league. Jordan Poole, that is now, is developed and has been developed into what he is now. He did not start off like this. And for some reason, people is now saying that Curry got the most help all time for any superstar, because now he got Jordan Poole. Bro, was y'all saying that a couple years ago when he had Jordan Poole and Jordan Poole was playing nothing like this, and y'all was clowning Steph Curry for not being able to make the playoffs because all his studs was hurt and he had to play with a young Jordan Poole and other young guys? But now that he's stuck with it, didn't get him traded and watch them develop, now that's a problem. I just think that's real funny. People's biggest problem with the Warriors seem to be that the Warriors seem to do everything right. That's what it seems to be. It's no such thing as perfect, they say, but damn it, the Warriors is fucking close. Which is crazy that people continue to say, oh, nobody can be perfect, but all of these quotes about chasing perfection. It's wild. Either way, the Warriors drafted Curry, developed him. Drafted Clay, developed him, or let him develop. Helped them with their development. I'm not going to get a Warriors all the credit, but they was patient and helped and waited and was right there with the development of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, the Draymond Green, Jordan Poole. That's probably why they won't trade James Wiseman. They'll probably be there with his development. They helped develop and take Andrew Wiggins' games to new levels. Like, look at what they are doing. You got mad because they drafted their big core three that has been able to go on now their second or third iteration of a championship, because this is third, because they had that first team, then they had KD, now they got this one. That's because of the organization is ran the right way. All LeBron had to do was be patient with Lonzo and B.I. They were clearly, you can't even say he had to wait for him, because, bruh, Curry had to wait for Jordan Poole and them boys to develop. LeBron came into a play in the part where Brandon Ingram was already in his development. Like, he was already close to being a breakout player. And Lonzo, bro, I really think Lonzo was already a good player. Like, I really think people sleep on Lonzo. To me, Lonzo has not been a bad player since he done been into the NBA. He just wasn't a scorer when he got to the NBA, because Lonzo been able to play defense and assist the ball and get people involved since the day he stepped into the league. And he a big point guard, and he can rebound the ball. Like, to me, Lonzo Ball is a great point guard. I ain't saying he a superstar yet, or a star, or even an all-star caliber point guard yet, even though I do think he is an all-star caliber point guard if he had a full season of breakout season. But what I'm saying is, LeBron James getting those dudes traded, I mean, it just, look at Curry and what they doing over there in Golden State, and look at the Lakers. And to me, it's just so stupid that the Lakers actually did it. Because why would you waste this many years developing these dudes, man? These ain't no 5th, 6th round draft picks. These ain't a 30th pick in the draft and shit like that. Look how hard it is for Portland to let go of Dame Lillard. A team that know that they possibly have no shot at winning a championship, they still refuse to let go of Dame Lillard. And they even know that they're going to have to. But they struggling. They trying to get to the very last, absolute exhaust every single outlet before, or possibility before they trade away Dame Lillard. Because they helped develop him. They watched him develop into the superstar that he is today. The Lakers did not hold on to to B.I. or Lonzo like that. It's as if they could care less that they had helped in the development and shit like that. And don't tell me, if you a Laker fan and you saying fuck these dudes, that's because you're not that truly a Laker fan. You're a LeBron James fan. And I have no problem with that, but you need to be able to differentiate what you are. But to the real Laker fans out there, we loved those young Laker teams, bruh. We turned it up at Summer League watching Zoe. We loved Caruso. How you going to develop Caruso into this, watch him develop this fast, and then let him walk off just for some chump change? Like, to me, I am probably at the point where the Lakers need to sell this team, or Jeannie Buss or somebody need to, they need to let somebody else, not necessarily sell the team, but they're going to have to let somebody else take over because, I'm starting to realize that the Lakers ain't evolving with the times. Like, bro, it's not even evolving. It's just not being smart, bro. Like, you got Mitch Kupchak signing people to stupid, just bozo-ass deals. Like, I saw a report the other day, the Lakers finally done paying Luol Deng. They had that Timothy Mozgov contract that Mitch Kupchak gave him. Like, they deal with that stupidity, only to get to now this point in which Rob Pelinka, who I was fucking with, but then you go out and trade for Russell Westbrook, bruh. And then you trade for a superstar, not even a superstar, for a perennial all-star Anthony Davis, who is perennially hurt. And a LeBron James, and you don't tell LeBron James, listen, this is a dude who always hurt, and you getting later in your career where injuries could possibly happen. B.I. and Lonzo, B.I. is legitimately a year and a half, possibly at the most 2 years away from being an absolute all-star level player. The man was an all-star the moment he left L.A. That is a fucking L in every single sense of the word. The man was an all-star as soon as he fucking left L.A. The Pelicans didn't develop that. That was LA's work. And now you watching every coach or anybody in that organization that had anything to do with Brandon Ingram getting to this point, you don't even get to reap the benefits. The Pelicans do. And they get to walk around and act as if they had anything to do with his development other than, we got you out of LA, which might have been the biggest thing. We got you out of LA so you could spread your wings. Not to mention, the Pelicans ain't getting a pass from me because they was about to suffocate his greatness with the previous coach they had, because they was so stuck on Zion that they wasn't going to let Brandon Ingram do what he do now. Think about this. Brandon Ingram probably don't do this, what he doing this year, if Zion is healthy, because they would have been playing through Zion, not through Brandon Ingram. Now, because of Zion's injury, you can't go into next year with a healthy Zion saying, listen, we're not doing nothing what we did last year with Brandon Ingram. Everything go to Zion. No, you finna try to find a way to get Zion to be able to fit in with Brandon Ingram and C.J. McCollum. And for all those people out there who keep, because I haven't seen a lot of people say it, is Zion the best player on the team? No, he is not. No, he is not. You're not finna tell me a dude who didn't play the whole fucking year this year and has never led a team to the playoffs and has never, he's never done what Brandon Ingram just did this year. Point blank period. Not to mention, I'm not taking I'm taking Brandon Ingram over Zion every day of the week, bro. Now listen, I'm biased because Brandon Ingram is a Laker in my heart, and that's my guy. Like, I'm rooting for him to the day, that's my fucking guy. But still, I'm taking B.I. over Zion, bro. Like, it's not even. Brandon Ingram, skill-wise, is a beast. Now, if Brandon Ingram figure out how to become a good defender, an above-average defender, watch the fuck out. But that might have a lot more to do with the weight he put on, but I don't know if he really want to put on too much more muscle and shit because it might fuck up his jump shot, and shit like that. But I didn't really expect to get into that little tangent right there about the Lakers, but every time I see Brandon Ingram or Lonzo or any previous, because Caruso was balling, and he played tonight, and he was balling out in the first game against the Bulls. My heart just cry inside. And I met a dude back in the day when I used to catch the bus. It was a dude who was like, I hate it when bitches talk about, man, you breaking my heart, because your heart is only the thing that pumps blood, that keeps you alive. It's no such thing as your heart having emotions. I say, yo, this dude is hilarious. But either way, it breaks my heart, man, seeing my baby Lakers, my former Lakers, bro, my Lakers doing this shit on other teams, bro. While the actual fucking Lakers is sitting at home because they let LeBron come in here and run amok through the franchise, bro. Not being able to man up and tell that man yes or no. No, not yes. Just telling the man no and explaining to him why you telling him no. Like, the shit, my goodness, bro. And you want to know what's crazy? I bet you LeBron don't even give a fuck about none of that. Like, he looking at these dudes in the playoffs, Brandon Ingram balling out the other night. I bet you he did not at no point in time think to himself, man, it would be nice to have B.I. over Anthony Davis right now. They probably excited about that championship they won. And listen, bro, I'm not disrespecting that championship. If it means something to you, that is cool. I'm never going to look at you and say, bro, how can you think that championship happened? You know what I'm saying? To me, I don't hold that championship in as high regard as I do other championships, because it didn't make me feel as if it was a big championship. Like, bro, it's all like, listen, I'm not poo-pooing it, but I'm just telling you, to me, it don't mean as much as other championships that I've seen. That's all I'm saying. It felt real nice at first when I was watching it, because it felt like a little adult AAU tournament type shit. Playing in the same gym, like they had a summer camp shit that we got to watch, like a movie type shit. When you see those camp movies back in the day. Now that I'm thinking about it too, bro, what happened to all the good camp movies, yo? Like, I used to watch these nice camp movies growing up, bro, with kids at summer camp, and it was camp comedies. And then I got older, and it was like teenagers at camps. And, bro, what happened? I feel like it's some great camp comedies out there to be had, bro, to be written. The real problem is everybody write the same shit, or just rewriting the same movies and shit. Like, nobody got good ideas anymore. It's really out of control, bro. It's kind of like the porn industry, bro. Like, do anybody, and trust me, I'm not hating on the porn industry at all. I'm never gonna be one of them. Twitter already hate porn. Like, it feel like, cause it feel like every week I get on Twitter, bro, I see a tweet where somebody is taking a shot at porn or porn stars, bro. It's crazy, bro. Let people live. But it just feel like these porn producers, like, do y'all not realize y'all probably could make a great little buck if somebody started up a company in which, yeah, you could probably put porn in the movie. Like, you probably put like 1 or 2 scenes in a movie that's actual porn. But what if you actually put together a great movie, not this bullshit trash ass acting that y'all be doing in some of these porns now? I remember one time with my homeboy, jokingly, I have to imagine this is what he was talking, because he might have been telling the truth, because he still be saying, for a while he kept saying this, but I had a homeboy who used to say he watched porn for the storylines, to see if he ever, he said he'd get into the storylines of the porn, and I'm like, what? Like, you watch porn for the story? And we laughed about it every time he said it, but it just feel like it's more money out there to be made. If they actually made good porn movies or something, like, you know what I'm saying? But I guess in the porn industry, you ain't really worried about the acting, just the fucking, so, okay. If we would try to make movies, we'd go to Hollywood. And I dig that. Do you, boo? But listen, man, back to the fucking Celtics and the Nets, bro. Because we got far away from that topic. But we do have to I can't even talk. We got to skedaddle back to that. Because I fear that I fear Brooklyn might lose this series. I do think they'll win one game at home. But I'm expecting that Boston is going to take one of those games in Brooklyn. Because from both of these games I done seen, Brooklyn is just not a better team than Boston. And unless Brooklyn go out to like a 20 or 30-something point lead, it just feel like it's not a lead too big for Boston to get back into the game with if they play defense and play like a team. Because they'll be able to hit some big shots, get some big stops, and boom, bang, bing. Bing, bong. There goes the game. And so, I fear for Brooklyn, man. I think Brooklyn might be headed to a first round exit, which would be wild to say. Like, that would be absolutely wild to say. Now, obviously, it do get better for Brooklyn because you do get Ben Simmons back next year. I think you get Ben Simmons back next year. I would not play Ben Simmons this year. I don't know why Ben Simmons ain't played since he done got to Brooklyn. Don't really give a fuck. At this point in time, I'm probably not playing him at all because now we got to figure out how to fit him into the system, or not even to a fucking system because it ain't no system being ran in Brooklyn right now. We got to figure out how to put him into the floor and get him into the action, basically, on the fly again. But with the way this team is being coached and shit and the way they operate, if Ben Simmons tell them he can play and he ready to go, they will throw him in there because they coach this team and run this team like they desperate. Dead ass. That's exactly what I'm starting to realize. And I just don't know if Brooklyn come out of this with a championship at any point in time while they got KD, Kyrie, and Ben. Because, and I don't even know if they ain't going nowhere. Like, I could see Kyrie retiring at some point in time. But other than that, where is KD going? Back to OKC? No shot. Back to Golden State? I don't even think at this point, like, I would love to see it, but I don't think Golden State care too much about bringing them back at this point now that they got to develop Jordan Poole. Like, I really don't know what you do if you KD. I think you stay in, unless you link up with another star down the line. It feel like KD is in Brooklyn for the foreseeable future. And I don't see a championship coming out of Brooklyn. Unless they change coaches. I do think a different head coach could get so much more out of this team. Because like I said, Steve, what system is Steve Nash running? None. Like, when you have a coach who really... Steve Nash is legitimately a coach just because of his name. Because... And I hate to say that because I like Steve Nash. And like I said, I had no problem with the hire. But what are you doing to make this team better, bruh? Like, offensively should be your key because you ain't defensive coach. You're not a defensive-minded coach. No team you ever played for was defensive. Played no type of defense most of the time. Yeah, I was a up and down the court, 7 seconds or less offense. This offense for the Brooklyn Nets, man, it's I don't know, man. It was even a point in time out there tonight where I thought I was just watching a bunch of Hardens. Like, this, Brooklyn is fucking doomed, bro. They have to fire Steve. And I didn't want to say this because I don't want to advocate for Steve Nash being fired. But, bruh, you might have to fire Steve Nash, or if he can't develop a system or get these dudes to play within a system. It's nice to have these dudes, but if you had them in a system, which is evident when KD was put into a system in Golden State, like, he can try to say, oh, we didn't play within the system didn't matter, and that's not why we won. All he want to. The system is clearly why Golden State is a great team. And obviously it helped to have a Draymond Green, a Steph Curry, a Klay Thompson, and a Kevin Durant. But that system is what turned those dudes into these dudes. Now, it's great that they was able to develop into superstars and the stars. But still, you cannot convince me that you don't put a system in place that it don't improve or evolve or help not just the superstar player, but everybody else. That's why those Bulls teams could win, the Lakers teams, the Celtics teams. Like, bruh, I refuse to believe KD or anybody else who tell me that, it's not a system or nothing like that. It's just the players. No. It's like I say in the NFL. It's great to have a Patrick Mahomes, but when a Patrick Mahomes is struggling, now it's time for you to do your job. It's easy to coach him when he is playing at his best and it look like he don't need to be coached. That's not when I'm looking for you to be a great head coach. I'm looking for you to be a great head coach and earn your check when Patrick Mahomes is struggling. And he need his coach, his offensive coordinator, or whoever it is, to help him get through these rough patches. That's their job. That's when their job becomes important. I'm not saying you got to be the greatest coach all time, even when, you know what I'm saying? I get Pat Mahomes going to have games where he don't need to be coached, where it look like he is in no need of coaching. But like this past year, where he struggled, and he needed Bieniemy and Andy Reid to get him back on track, to help simplify the game and simplify the play calling and shit like that, to get him, some easy things going and shit. That's important. You got to meet a motherfucker halfway. You do your job, I do mine. And I can even do my job far better than you do your job. But as long as you do your job when I need you to do your job, we good, baby. We good. And so for Steve Nash, I really think you might need to bring in a head coach that can get these dudes in a system. Like, I ain't saying hire Phil Jackson. But shit, if he answering the phone, make that call. But they need a coach who can get them in an offensive system. Because, hell, even if you could get... I do think they need to figure something out defensively. I just think it's too many good players and teams in the Eastern Conference for them to continuously rely on KD and Kyrie, who ain't getting no younger, to outscore everybody. And then bringing in Ben Simmons, hoping that just Ben Simmons alone going to change the entire defense for the Nets. That's just not going to happen. So I really think, and that's probably the biggest problem with Steve Nash right now. He don't improve the defense, and he not improving this offense. So what are you here for? What are you doing? Just to cheer us up? To tell us we doing a good job? To look cool when we win? Like, nah, B. What you bringing to the table? And listen, KD and Kyrie obviously signed off on this. I don't know if Kyrie signed off on it because of his comments after the signing was made or before the signing was made or whatever. But KD had to have signed off on this because KD was the big fish for Brooklyn. So, listen, I don't know if Steve Nash is back next year. I don't know. But if he is, he gotta put a system in place. Because they are in trouble. Brooklyn could lose in the first fucking round. KD and Kyrie could lose in the first round to Jason Tatum. Fuck that. To the Boston Celtics, bro. If this don't prove to you that you need a system and a team to win, then I don't know what will. Because this is two players that we did not think would be knocked out in this first round on the same team together. And that is a very realistic possibility. Because I truly believe that Boston is picking up one of these wins in Brooklyn. And God forbid these boys get the first one in Brooklyn. If Boston take game 3, this might be a sweep, ladies and gentlemen. This might be, I guarantee. Terrible Chuck impersonation. But listen, I guarantee if fucking if Brooklyn drop game 3, this is a sweep. Boston gonna be amped for game 4 if they come in here and take game 3. I'm telling you right now, they are going to relish the possibility of embarrassing Kyrie and KD in Brooklyn. And the worst part is that Brooklyn crowd might start booing their own team. Now, I could see Brooklyn, if Brooklyn win game 3, I still think they're going to lose the series because I think they're going to drop game 4 and 5. But man, this series don't feel like 7 games. As competitive as they might have felt these first 2 games, it really just feel like Brooklyn, if Boston was more careful with the ball and more efficient at times, it feel like they probably would have won these last 2 games a little bit easier than they did anyways. But regardless, through the first 2 games, Boston done felt like the far better team. And when you have KD and Kyrie struggle like they did tonight, like I said, the lack of ball movement and player movement on this team is why you can swarm KD the way they was swarming him tonight. That's why you can defend Kyrie the way you defend him tonight. And, I hate to say that I thought this during the game, but I thought this during the game. Fuck, they done made Kyrie basically a liability tonight. Because he can't defend nobody tonight because they are going right at him. And he can't score. He on the floor to score, not even to be a point guard, like to facilitate and get people involved. I think he had 1 assist tonight. They turned Kyrie into a complete liability tonight. Brother Kyrie got turned into a complete liability. So Brooklyn going to have to show something, man. They're going to have to come out firing in game. And it's so crazy because if Brooklyn come out, they can take a big lead like they did tonight. And I just don't think they can sustain it. Because at some point in time in the game, you're going to have to start being able to be coached. Coaching is going to not be able to be coached. At some point in time in the game, the other coach going to start coaching his ass off, and your coach going to have to respond. It ain't going to just be on the players. The coach going to have to start responding. And Steve Nash just ain't responding. Man, I didn't think this whole thing. No, I knew this was going to be about Brooklyn when I got on tonight. But, man, Brooklyn going to have to figure some shit out. Because it's not looking great. But, I appreciate y'all for joining me, man. We're going to be talking about other team tomorrow. We're not going to be talking about Brooklyn tomorrow. I might mention Brooklyn, but I won't be dedicating this much time to Brooklyn. I couldn't really talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. In the Raptors because I have not watched that series. I did see James Harden scored 19. And I've been seeing people talk about how James Harden might not be that guy anymore. I'm going to check in on that. But I've not watched a single game in that series. And I'm not watching a single game in that series. I hope Philadelphia close that shit out the next opportunity they get. But, with that being said, I appreciate you for joining me. Boston fans are really lit right now. Have a dope day. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. Tell your mama you love them, man. Tell your mama to have a dope fucking day. Tell her you love her. Kiss on the cheek. Kiss on the forehead. Do what you got to do. Go buy her something to eat tonight. Go make her something to eat. Do something for your moms. Alright? Saying out.
Scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver. Pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends. Don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much or how you doing would have meant to me, but motherfuck all that. I don't even offer up the time to make the call back. Stupid Lodo.